Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. In this episode I'm going to be talking about what happens to police officers in prison. Now I've done a video on this previously when I've been talking about David Carrick, and that was probably my highest views on my video that I've ever done. If you go down you can see it, and the title is What Happens to Police Officers in Prison. Now David Carrick has been attacked in prison, and this happened 2 weeks ago. I've been waiting to do the video and I'm just trying to get time. Obviously now I've got the time to do it. The kids are back at school. I'll be uploading more videos. But David Carrick he was working for the Met Police, and he was jailed for 24 counts of rape whilst a serving police officer. And he went unnoticed for a number of years. But I'll just tell you a little bit about him. And David Carrick was born on the 4th of January 1975. And it says here as an English serial rapist and former police officer who worked for the Metropolitan Police. He joined the police force in 2001 and worked as an armed police officer in the Parliamentary and Diplomatic Protection from 2009 until his initial suspension and subsequent sacking from his position. Carrick was arrested in 2021 and in 2022 pleaded guilty to multiple counts of rape between 2002 and 2021. In 2023, he was sentenced to life in prison. So for 19 years, he got away with these attacks, and he was charged, or he got done for 24 counts of rape. Now, like I've mentioned in the previous video, what happens to police officers in prison? Now, especially convicted S, I'm just going to refer to it as S, just so it doesn't get picked up by the algorithm and the video will not be monetized. But if you're in prison for an S offence, you're immediately a target. If you're an ex-copper and you're in prison, you become a target. So David Carrick, in prison as an ex-copper and for S offences, is a #1 target for people in prison, especially the prisons that he's going to, high security prisons full of the most dangerous men in the country. And when people like David Carrick land in prison, or S offenders or ex-coppers, they immediately put on VP, or they're immediately classed as a VP. Now a VP stands for vulnerable prisoner, and the only reason they're vulnerable is because they'll be vulnerable to attack from the other inmates, and they'll be placed on the VP wing. Now the VP wings are just full of people like this, full of people that have committed crimes against kids, and full of what you call in prison bacons and hairy apes, rapists, and that's what the type of people are on these type of wings. But there's also people from normal location wings are placed on the VP wings. Now a lot of people in prison, when they get involved in drugs and they run up drug debts and they can't pay them, what happens is, before they get attacked, they'll hit the cell bell during bang up time. And during bang up time, the screws will come to the pad and they'll say, right, get us off the wing, I'm going to be attacked. And the majority of the time, they'll give information to the screws, because the screws will say, wait, we're not moving you until you tell us who's supplying or doing whatever on the wing. So that individual will give information to the screws about who's doing what on the wing. Then they'll be tucked down and placed on the vulnerable prisoner wing, and they will then be classed as a vulnerable prisoner because they'll become under attack from the other inmates because of the debt that he wrapped up, and then because he's informed on people on the wing. And these type of prisoners are living in amongst the likes of David Carrick and living in amongst the S offenders. So after a number of months or whatever of these living down there, they might be sick of living with this type of prisoner because they'll not look at themselves as being as bad as them, because they were in for what you would class as normal offences or normal location offenders. Because when you're on normal location, you're in for offences that aren't related to S. So you're placed up on normal location. So the normal location is when they get put down there and mixed in with the VPs. This is when the VPs or the likes of David Carrick will become under attack, because a lot of people think, oh well, he's getting away lightly because he's being put on the VP wing, but that's definitely not, because these type of prisoners will be in fear every day of their lives throughout the sentence, because they know the high profile, and they'll know someone will just be looking for the opportunity to attack the likes of David Carrick. And this is exactly what's happened. So he's down up in Belmarsh, sorry, and the other inmates have getting a hold of him, and it says here he was badly beaten up, so officers have placed him in a single cell, and he practically has no social integration. He's got a TV and is allowed 20 minutes in the gym each day. Well, I don't think he'll be allowed 20 minutes in the gym each day, because he's probably being put down the block just for his own protection, so he won't be attacked. And he'll be getting 20 minutes out of his pad for going exercise or go and do association. Maybe it's a phone call. I don't know whether he's got phones in his pad, because a lot of prisons now have got phones in the cells, but I don't know about the high security prisons. I don't think they've got them in now. But it says that he's been beaten up black and blue by the other prisoners after the ambush, and he's in fear of coming out of his cell, and he won't mix with any other people. So it says the only thing prisoners, like I've just mentioned, hate more than ex-policemen is S offenders, and Carrick is both, and that's why he'll be coming under attack at any point throughout his sentence. But it won't just be like attacked once and then left alone. Just because he's been attacked once, as in some people that might have beef with other people, they'll think, oh, they'll just leave him alone because he's already been hit. He's already been targeted once, and they've gotten a hold of him once. But think again, the likes of David Carrick, along with a number of other prisoners, other inmates that are in for similar offences, will become under attack throughout the sentence. And like I've just mentioned, they might get attacked, then they'll we'll move him to another prison for his own safety. So say he might get moved to somewhere like Franklin, right the way up here, and again, he won't feel safe, because every time he comes out of his pad, someone will be looking for that opportunistic attack to get a hold of him, especially some of the ones that I've mentioned earlier on that have ran from the normal location wings down onto there. But I have known prisoners that have been up on normal location purposely put themselves down on the vulnerable prisoner wing to mix in with them, just to try and attack one of them. There was a lad in Franklin when I was in there. He purposely put himself down on the VP wings because somebody was in that prison that attacked his daughter. So he put himself down there pretending that he was scared and he was involved with drugs, which he wasn't. He just wanted to get down there to try and find this person that attacked his daughter. But it says Carrick, 48, became one of Britain's worst S offenders after pleading guilty to 48 offences against 12 women over 2 decades. The former firearms officer began his 30-year sentence at the Category A Belmarsh in South East London, home to grinder killer Stephen Port and Michael Adebayo, who murdered soldier Lee Rigby in 2013. Now, this cannot be accurate, because the last I heard that Stephen Port, I've done a video on him, who was serving life without parole. He was in Franklin prison, and that Michael Adebayo, I'm sure the last I heard he was in Franklin prison as well, because in Franklin they've got a wing for extremist terrorists or extremist Muslims in the high security prison that's trying to convert other people or trying to, what you would call, radicalize them. So they've purposely got a wing for around about 10 prisoners in Frankland, where the likes of Michael Adebayo is, so they can't radicalise the other prisoners. Now the other copper as well, who was Wayne Couzens, who was found guilty for the murder of Sarah Everard. I'm surprised they haven't actually put these two together, because David Carrick and Wayne Couzens are the two most hated ex-coppers in the prison system because of the cases and because they're so high profile. But again, Wayne Couzens, I don't think he has become under attack yet, but that'll be all to do with because he's that high profile. And I think Wayne Couzens was a bit more high profile than David Carrick, for the simple fact that, well, not for the simple fact, but for the fact that he actually went on to murder Sarah Everard. He actually went on, he admitted the kidnap, rape and murder of the 33-year-old Sarah Everard. But again, Wayne Couzens, he's in Frankland prison, but he will definitely at one point or another become under attack, and he will be seriously hurt at some point in his sentence, because there's a lot of high profile offenders, the likes of Ian Huntley, Levi Belfield, all these type of ones. What was the other one? Roy Whiten. These have all been attacked, and I'm talking like serious attacks where they've had their eyes took out. The Yorkshire Ripper, he was seriously assaulted on numerous occasions. Ian Huntley, I think he's been assaulted twice, and one of them was near fatal, where he got his throat slashed. So this is what the likes of Couzens and Carrick will be in fear of every day. When they're going in for the showers, they'll be shiting themselves thinking if someone's going to come in behind them and cut them when they're standing washing their face, someone will come in, opportunistic attack, and get them when they're at the most vulnerable point. And this is why they're classed as a vulnerable prisoner, because they will be attacked at some point. But this is what happens in high security prisons. If you're in for this type of offence, especially being an ex-copper, you will be the #1 target. So for the people watching that don't really know much about the prison system, and they've never been involved with anything to do with prison, and you all think that they will be protected and they'll be put in protective custody, but believe you me, a lot of the things, especially the violent attacks, when I've covered murders in prison, most of the murders that have happened in prison have happened on the VP wings, and it's normally VP on VP, like in for similar crimes. I've done a one on a lad in Frankland who was actually disemboweled by 2 other inmates because they thought they weren't as bad as this other inmate, so they went and acted out their own prison justice, and they disemboweled one of the inmates because he was in for offences against children, and they were in for murders against elderly people and stuff like that. They didn't think they were as bad as this person, so they went on to disembowel this inmate. I have done a video on it, so if you want to go down and have a look. But there was another one in HMP Wakefield, which I covered. He was seriously assaulted before he was murdered as well. But a lot of the murders are happening on the VP wings, and this is what will be in the back of their minds constantly, thinking, are they going to be the next victim of prison justice, which will at some point happen. But I'm going to leave that one there for now, people. Hopefully you're enjoying the content still. If you do like it, remember to comment, like and subscribe. And if you want to join my Patreon channel with exclusive content, click the link in the description and it will take you to my page, and you can be joining my Discord group, which has general chat on exclusive videos and support for the individuals that join the group. So I'll leave that one there for now, people. Take care.